What's up everyone on the internet? Thank you for making this video party. I'm so excited to upload this one for you guys because Disney Plus has released the final episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars, and today we're going to be taking a look at the series finale, Victory and Death. So it looks like Disney has decided to release the final episode for Star Wars The Clone Wars on May the 4th, which so happens to be Star Wars Day. And honestly, I'm actually at a loss of words right now. After watching the series finale, it didn't really hit me until the credits were rolling by that the show that I've been watching since 2008 is finally over. And after 12 years of waiting, 12 years of imagining how this story would end, we finally get to see how the Clone Wars ends. Because this is the series finale, I'll probably do a review for the entire Clone Wars series in general, but for now we'll just review the final episode of this amazing series. So the series finale takes place right after we left off from last week's episode, where we see both Ahsoka and Rex getting ready for the fight of their lives, as they now have to try to find a way to get off their ship while also trying to avoid being killed by their own soldiers. And for Ahsoka and Rex, it's pretty hard. For Ahsoka, she's fought beside these clones for years and she has saved their lives countless times. So she knows that the clones are still good men. And knowing that the clones are being controlled by the inhibitor chip in their head, Ahsoka knows that it's not the clones' fault for turning against the Jedi. For Rex, these men are literally his brothers, and he knows that these men will give their lives in order to protect the Jedi and the Republic. But because of the inhibitor chip, these men are now working for the Emperor, and he knows that these clones will do anything in order to bring both him and Ahsoka down. And when Rex realizes this, it breaks him, because now he has to face his brothers in order to survive this big mess that is unraveling before him. Also, while Ahsoka and Rex are trying to find a way off their ship, Maul's still causing trouble and mayhem, but on a scale we have never seen before. And honestly, I don't remember seeing Maul this powerful before, but the way they show off his power, it almost reminded me of the Force Unleashed games. Remember those games when you would play as a Sith Apprentice and you would use the Force to bring down TIE Fighters and freaking Star Destroyers? Ah, good times. So yeah, the way we see Maul damage the ship and kill a lot of clones in the process, it's on a whole nother level in terms of force wielding. And honestly, I don't think we've seen this kind of force wielding on the show before, and I'm glad they saved this moment for the finale. Anyway, while Maul's making things difficult for everyone, Ahsoka and Rex managed to find a small little fighter that will get them off this sinking ship. But in order to get to it, they gotta get past Jesse and the entire clone army. Honestly, this part really stings, because when you've watched this series from beginning to end, some of these clones have grown on you. And when you see clones like Jesse, clones who've had incredible character development, clones who have fought beside the Jedi through thick and thin, and are now trying to kill them, it just breaks my heart. And for Rex, he knows that in order to get to that ship, he's gonna have to get some blood on his hands. However, it is Ahsoka that reassures him that she is not willing to kill good men. And it's in this moment that where we see these two characters have this small little quiet moment before we get into the big fight. And after watching this moment, you realize that neither of these two characters ever compromised their moral values. Both have seen the good, both have seen the bad, and neither of them ever went with what was wrong in their eyes. So as they make their way to the ship while also trying to fend off as many clones as they can, Maul decides to pop up and makes a run for the ship that they're trying to get on. However, in the moment, Rex is also pinned down by some of his brothers, leaving Ahsoka to make a difficult choice: stop Maul or save Rex. And watching this moment, I remember that in Star Wars Rebels and in the Ahsoka novel, both mentioned that Ahsoka had to make this choice at the very end of the Clone Wars. So watching this moment unfold on screen, it's pretty awesome. So Ahsoka makes the right choice and rushes over to help Rex, letting Maul escape. But if you watch shows like Star Wars Rebels, you know that we haven't seen the last of him. But back to Ahsoka and Rex. It looks like during the fight, the two managed to find a small little Y-wing bomber that'll help them get off this sinking ship. But with the ship on the verge of colliding with a nearby planet and the clones still trying to kill them, it's not going to be easy. Also, watching this starship crash onto this nearby planet, it reminded me a lot about this moment in Lost Stars, which is a Star Wars novel that I love to read every year. Long story short, there's a moment in the novel where you read about a Star Destroyer crashing onto a planet, and watching this scene in the Clone Wars finale, it reminded me a lot about that moment in Lost Stars. So as the ship crashes onto the planet, Ahsoka and Rex manage to escape, and it's in the aftermath where we see Rex bury his fallen brothers, and we also see Ahsoka pay her final respects to the clones she fought beside with throughout the entire series. Honestly, watching this small little moment, it made me tear up a bit, because despite what happened at the very end of the war, the clones fought and died beside the Jedi throughout the entire Clone Wars. Not only that, but they were also good men just doing their job in order to help bring an end to all the death and suffering. So after watching this little moment, you realize that the Clone Wars is over, and the Empire's coming. Overall, I really enjoyed this final episode, and for me, it's everything I ever could have hoped for ever since I first started watching this series back in 2008. And looking back at where Ahsoka and Rex first started to where they ended off in today's final episode, you really see how far these characters have come. And when you really think about it, this entire series is basically their story. Yes, you do have Anakin and Obi-Wan as the main characters of this series, but because of the movies, we already know where these two characters end up. So by having characters like Ahsoka and Rex be the main focus in this final season, you really get to see the character development pay off at the end of the series. And with that being said, if you're still sad about the fact that the Clone Wars is finally over, I highly recommend you read the Ahsoka novel, which is what I plan on doing in order to cope with this loss. I love this book. I read it every year, and I also got it signed by Ashley Eckstein herself. Anyway, this book basically just tells you where Ahsoka was during the first years of the Empire. So if you want to know what happened to Ahsoka after the Clone Wars, I highly recommend you read this book. Alright, that's going to do it for this video, guys. That was my overall review for this series finale of Star Wars The Clone Wars. If you like what you saw, click the subscribe button so you can get all these updates from this channel. I'll see you next time with a brand new video. Bye-bye.